us a little bit more about the role of the CFO and what you're responsible for.
Interesting question, because the role has been evolving quite a bit, I would say. And look, the CFO is the primary fiduciary of the shareholder, and the board of directors rely on the CFO to make sure that the controls are working, that the financial statements are good, fairly and truly reflect what's going on in the operations, and any other disclosures that are required to give full transparency to the investors and the board. But I think where I've kind of found is that CFOs really need to focus on driving value. Okay, to me, the fiduciary piece of the role is like the table stakes, and then you got to go beyond that. And as you go beyond that, it's really how do you drive value, and the value accretion comes from many different parts, right? One is the growth story, and how do you provide the balance between cost reduction and investments in the future growth, because investments are obviously headwinds to your current earnings. The second is innovation pipeline. How do you kind of make sure the innovation pipeline is being adequately funded? So one thing is to say, okay, I'm going to put 2% or 5% or 10%, whatever is the appropriate amount of your revenue into R&D. But that's a slippery slope, because I think what you need to understand is how much of those R&D dollars are actually resulting in new products, and those new products are getting you a better margin than your old products. So it's really having a very good understanding of the dynamics of the innovation pipeline and the innovation roadmap that you put in place, because you invest the money today, over a period of time, and 5 years down the road, you have a new product, okay, or 3 years down the road, or 6 months down the road, depending on what businesses you're in. So getting a good understanding of that. I think, to me, the other piece that I know I was spending a fair bit of time on as well is this whole thing of building trust and credibility with your investor base, with your board, with your business leaders, and of course, last but definitely not the least, in your own finance organization. Because that credibility and trust allows open communication, and through that open communication, there are no surprises for anyone. And the worst thing that can happen to a CFO is a surprise, whether he or she is giving one or getting one, okay? And that's the worst thing you can do in your career as a CFO. And I think that those relationships and trust that you build with these key stakeholders, and they're all important, is a very important aspect of a CFO's role in driving value.